Hello, my little Liebfrau Milches, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. For the next hour or so, sit back, relax, and find out what the hell's going on in the world, what's wrong with the world, and let me set you right on what we need to do, which I have no fucking idea. You know, the title of the program says it all. There's more protests than there are sports, and it's really becoming a very grueling and wearing down thing. The virus all but disappears in the face of the stuff that's happening in our country on a daily basis. Everybody knows my approach is different than Brian's approach, and it's we're not going to argue on the air about things because I think both of us are rather flummoxed by some of the whack nature of the stuff and what people are doing, and it's a scary thing. It's just a real scary time we're living in. But reflecting in sports, you know, what we're getting is a series of, well, the NBA has come to a conclusion that they are going to do their playoffs. Hello, Keyblade, and I don't know who Keyblade is, but you know, yeah, Mark.
I know him from Cleveland Browns Daily.
Oh, good, and you know, so hi to Mark Ross, and I think we all kind of miss normalcy. And hi to Keyblade. It's good to see folks here, and hi. But what we're seeing now is the marketing impact of athletes, and it's, to me, inappropriate, ineffective, and I understand that there is a lot of frustration and there is a lot of people being affected by this on an emotional level. I get it. Oh, yeah, it's Kawaki. That's who Keyblade is. Hi, Kawaki. You're the guy who made Kawaki famous. No. Beer? Yeah, okay. I remember you. Of course I remember everybody who ever watched the show because I can count them on two hands. It's not hard to remember that, you know, basic nicknames of 10 people.
Unlike the panelists, you need more than two hands for that one.
Yeah, that's true. That, you know, hey, Doggy Bones, how are you, my friend? I hope the storm did not affect you too badly. It looked like it kind of went east of you. I was hoping that was the case because God only knows that corridor that you're in, going up around, you know, then shooting up over to the east of you in New Orleans. You know, my God, it is worse than the corridor we have here in Florida. It seems like everything goes up that way as far as hurricanes. And I'm glad that you're okay.
And there's going to be there's supposed to be another one coming through after this. So
yeah, it's just one after another. The hits keep on coming. The NBA has announced that, yes, there's going to be playoff games starting tomorrow, and it was a one-game walk away. I want to read to you some of the initiatives that had been agreed to by the league and the players, and just put my 2 cents worth in for what it's worth. Among the initiatives agreed to, the league and players will immediately establish a social justice coalition with representatives from players, coaches, and governors that will be focused on a broad range of issues, including increasing access to voting, promoting civic engagement, and advocating for meaningful police and criminal justice reform. The second initiative requires team governors to work with local election officials in cities where league franchises own and control arena properties to convert those facilities into election facilities for the 2020 general election to allow for a safe in-person voting option for communities vulnerable to COVID. the final initiative will see the league and players work with broadcast partners to create and include advertising commercials in every remaining playoff game that will be dedicated to promoting greater civic engagement in national and local elections and raising awareness around voter access and opportunity. There's a backdrop to all of this, but, to say this politely, I understand where this is coming from. I don't see in any way, shape, or form how this is going to affect the outcome. I think what it's going to do is to continue to batter people over the back of the head with a message that is already readily apparent, and that is that this election will not be trusted by either side, regardless of what the outcome is. I mean, I'm getting mail down here in Florida, which is a Republican gubernatorial state and a very important swing state in the election, that is really hyping up mail-in balloting. Whereas in other states, not the case, especially Democratic-run states, it's being spoken against. There is a lot of distrust. I will not do anything by mail in Florida. I won't. Now, if I go to a place and vote, they still have to count my vote, and I don't know how that works either. But all I'm saying is I don't think either side is going to trust the result of this. And it's nice to open up facilities to have what they call a COVID-safe voting environment. That's great. Nothing is COVID safe from what we are seeing. And second of all, if you're waiting in line for a long period of time to vote for one reason or another, you're not going to be able to, convincingly socially distance anyway. And that is, of course, the easiest way this thing is conveyed is in crowds. As far as the player,
for an example of that, they had that big food line in New York City to go to the one soup kitchen,
right?
And they were packed together like little sardines.
Not good. And we're seeing that over and over again, that is a real easy way to spread this. But, to be watching games in the midst of everything that's going on, and it's not really the pandemic anymore, folks, but it's the violence in our country, the just abject lawlessness that we're seeing, and the murdering that's going on, to see commercials in our sports that just re-emphasize this, we all know already, all right? We all have our own opinions. It's not going to change how we think about this, but it's going to continue to put us in chaos. And being besieged by media messages is probably what is creating an even greater amount of difficulty with what we're seeing. I mean, the stuff and the people who are showing up. I mean, and Brian and I actually spoke actually via Facebook today. And, and everybody should well know that we don't agree with one another. All right, flat out. When it comes to the public kinds of stuff in public policy and politics, we don't agree at all. And if you want to follow some of our Facebook conversations,
there are some things that we can agree on. So.
Well, I think we both agree that whatever's
we
out there.
We both don't like Mitch McConnell. We both don't like certain other people.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's like the people who are showing up to these protests, these are not all of a kind. These are miscreants. These are criminals, people with criminal past. I mean, to find out that the shooter, the people who got shot in Kenosha, these people have criminal pasts. I mean, it's kind of hard to get behind a guy who was a convicted child abuse guy, a minor having sex with minors. And that's Rosenbaum, the one victim who was shot 3 times. And it's hard to get behind Rittenhouse. And when he was cited for shooting off a weapon when he was drunk, when he was 13, and finding out that his mother drove him there with the AR-15. It's hard. It's getting more and more difficult. I don't want to get involved in all of this. I want to talk about sports where we can, but I just want everybody to know that all of this media hype surrounding this, can we just watch the goddamn games in peace? That's all I'm asking for. And the NBA starting back up on Monday, or excuse me, on Saturday, and that's all well and good. But you see, what?
I just had the thought in my head. I remember the days when Browns fans could just beat the shit out of Steelers fans and enjoy a good football game.
Well, yeah, I think everybody is looking at the NFL as being like, okay, this is what we're going to be finally waiting for. And now the report coming out, and this is from Bleacher Report, so this is from a fair source, that a few prominent black NFL players want to sit out a game in protest during the course of the season. Hey, don't forget us. We can sit out. It's like your fucking season is a couple of weeks away. It's like either play or don't play, but don't. Enough is enough. And there's no preseason. There's nothing to take our minds off this horrible shit that's going on. And I just want to see games. All right. Now, I will say this. You want to talk Browns? We talked Browns before. I'll talk Browns again. The Browns are trying to install a new offense. They only practiced an hour on Thursday. I mean, you're not going to install. I can't at 63 install my dick in something in 1 hour, let alone an entire goddamn offensive and defensive scheme. I mean, get real. I mean, and Browns fans are asking me questions.
Get that bicycle pump ready, Brox.
No, what was it? What was the company that had? Was that Reebok?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pump shoes.
Do you remember the Nike clapback commercial where they had the guy? He had the little pneumatic pump, trying to pump up his shoes. Just wait, man. Just wait.
Yeah. So the Cleveland Browns are down to practicing for an hour a day, and without some of their a lot of their important players. And every day that goes by in practice, I mean, the only good news is like, oh, did you see Rashard Higgins caught 2 passes in that hour practice session? I mean, it's like, this is what we're down to. I mean, we're not going to be able to come out against the Ravens and do squat. It's just not possible. It's every team that has a new coach, new system, and it's always teams like us and the Redskins and the Jets and it's always the same cast of characters. They fall behind, and we get off to a lousy start, and the next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. We end up, is this going to be another losing season? As a matter of fact, I was reading articles already that the headline saying year 3 is everything for Baker Mayfield. And if he doesn't do great, he's a failure. And it's like they get us before the thing begins. I mean, it's like snuffing it out in the crib before it has a chance to breathe. The Browns are aborted by the national press, is what it amounts to. Keyblade saying, we'll pop him up here. I'm not sure what to make of the Browns offense when I see them practice. Well, they are lost out there because they don't know what they're doing. First of all, what you're going to see is going to be the ultimate quirky version of the offense, the oversimplification, because, I mean, you're not going to be able to do anything that, you're going to see a lot of the basic tenets of the zone blocking running game, and you're going to see a lot of it because you're not, I just hope it's not run, pass so that Baker gets killed, but I think you're going to see a lot of short passes. I don't think you're going to see the kind of long drawn out plays that are big scoring bursts. because the receivers and the quarterback in this system may not be on the same page yet. I think that timing passes out of the backfield, you're going to see a lot of the running backs, both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Catching passes, you're going to see tight ends being used a lot, which we know they will. But you're going to see Austin Hooper catching passes, but you're going to see a lot of those 7-yard kinds of things. And I think what you're not going to see is the mid-range passing game. I think you're going to see a few bombs here and there, but you're not going to see a lot of intricate, patterns that take a long time to develop kind of offense. And, and I think that's what you're going to see, Doggy Bones. I think you're going to see pound the ball. And the Browns are going to try to hide the lack of defensive secondary and linebackers by trying to hold the time of possession as best they can. That's it. I mean, if you shorten the game, the Browns are going to beat a football what the Indians are to baseball. Keep the score low, and you have a chance. That's what you have to look forward to. And I know Cleveland Browns fans traditionally don't like that kind of approach, but it's the only one that would even make any sense whatsoever. And I'm worried because the Browns just don't have a secondary. And I don't know how in the hell, and then I think executing screens properly is going to be easier in the zone blocking scheme running game, because what it's going to do is it's going to make teams aware of something and suck them into certain areas as they start trying to guess. There are going to be defenses which are more disciplined that are just going to give us a headache. And then there are going to be other teams that are too antsy that jump. And that's where screen passes will work well. But all it takes is one guy out of sync and the screen pass gets smothered. That's what we've been saying and what we've been seeing over the course of God knows how long. So what Moo is saying, we're going to have a bad run defense again. And, what I would tell you is this. I think you're going to be exploited by tight ends because of a lack of linebacker coverage capability. And if we don't get a pass rush from the guys that we have up front, you're going to get burned deep because we don't have a true free safety. Our safeties aren't going to be able to help out the cornerbacks. The run defense is really the problem is always the front four. And I don't think that we're necessarily going to be weaker in the run defense as we are in the pass defense. I think we're just going to be out of sync all the way around and playing with the 3/4 of a deck. And that makes it very difficult to do. And Crumbley's right, Yeah, we have fullbacks. I mean, for short yardage situations, if we can get that far into things, I think you're going to see a lot of first down 6-7 yard passes to running backs to try to get into those short yardage situations. And what you could really pray for is that we don't get into what we got into last year, which is shooting ourselves in the foot, offsides penalties, holding penalties, the kinds of things that put you in second, third, and longs, because we don't have the sophistication yet in the understanding of the offense. I shouldn't say sophistication. The offense is probably fine in its conceptual, stage, but in the actual execution, it's going to be lacking, I have a feeling. And, we don't know anything about Wills, do we? Except that he's not gone up against the big guy. He hasn't gone up against Myles Garrett, and
But he is getting a lot of help from Olivier Vernon.
He's getting a lot of help
as far as technique and wanting to know how to handle different things. So he is getting additional coaching. Plus, Joe Thomas is still pretty much in constant contact with him. So.
Well, and I Moo. What I would tell you is the reports I'm getting on Wills.
Another CBD-er.
Yeah. Uh, he's not looking at all spectacular. He looks like a rookie and he's making mistakes. And that's going to be the case. And I don't think Jedrick Wills is going to be a guy like Joe Thomas who's just going to come out and just be bam, Anthony Munoz, bam, just go right into the front line and just establish himself as an all-star. Not that kind of guy. It's I'm not real thrilled. But again, what I'll tell you is the defensive line, we've had trouble getting penetration for so long as far as, getting into the backfield, stopping, the momentum of teams running. And it's going to be ugly against the Ravens because if you don't stop the Ravens running game, you saw that when we beat them, they fall behind. If they have to depend strictly on Lamar Jackson's passing game, that can create a problem. But man, when they're opening up holes for their running backs like they do, and if you're not getting in the way, you don't have a prayer. And
now they have two threats that can score a touchdown running the football from 65 yards. So they're going to be a much more of a superior running team than practically any other squad in the NFL.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about J.C. Treader and Nick Harris ready to start at center. I don't know whether we should be really hoping for anything except J.C. Treader, and I don't know how Treader's going to play when it's a 6-week recovery, and he's trying to do it in 4.5 weeks. I don't see that happening. He's a tough guy. Treader will play if he can physically play. Believe me, he's a tough guy.
He played when he could barely walk.
That's right. Nick Harris is you want that at center. The best.
The only thing is he's got a lot of experience playing center, so it's not like Jedrick Wills where he's learning a new position. He's learning a new side of the line and trying to coordinate all of his stuff. He knows what he's.
Yeah, the problem is the center, though, is the guy who sets the blocking schemes at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be very difficult, for him to call out anything. And the exchange between he and Baker Mayfield that has to be worked on, and it is different in live full speed action than it is when you're in slow-mo learning a new system. You get out there. Can you imagine to go from just learning a system in slow motion to having to go out full speed, and a lot of your players aren't even accustomed to playing at full speed? It's tough enough transitioning from the preseason into the regular season. There's no transition here. You're just being thrown to the wolves. It's going to be very difficult. And this, okay, we have a question. How can we trust Stefanski to lead this team when we don't even know how? He's back on the barbecue spare ribs thing. I don't know what his thing is. Barbecue spare ribs. Yeah. I think that, it should be BRAIN dead. Yeah. Clearly
the CO stands for carbon monoxide.
Yeah, and the thing is, I want to call him Kawaki, but I'll call him Keyblade. You
can call him whatever.
It's just not late for dinner, but for the barbecue spare ribs. There you go, buddy. 3,000 yards rushing as a team. This is unheard of. And they went right at people.
And they had 1,200 yards from the quarterback position alone. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, but they have more ways of hurting you than you could, and you'd know it was coming. And they would 3rd and 7, they'd run at you. They didn't care, and they still just run over people. Now, I know that Harris is athletic, and I'm not saying he's not qualified to block in a zone blocking scheme. He is, but it's asking a hell of a lot for him to be at the right spot at the right time when he's going up against guys who are steering him in other directions. And the strength differential between college football and playing, as in the NFL. It's a lot to ask, and that position is just so pivotal. Hands on the ball every play. It's and it's going to be what it's going to be. I mean, you got to play. You got to play the games. So whether you're fully prepared or not, you got to do it. So, as far as other news, Greedy Williams is, according to Kevin Stefanski, truly day-to-day, as opposed to previous Browns regimes who used day-to-day, meaning week-to-week. It is a shoulder problem. I'm not exactly sure what that means. It means that it's not separated if he's day-to-day.
I saw a thing where he was going to be scheduling a surgery for his shoulder.
Who, Greedy Williams?
Yeah.
No, he's day-to-day, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't in the offseason. You know how these guys are. You don't find out who really was hurting. It was kind of like Jarvis Landry. You didn't find out what was wrong with him, or until the season was over. Then all of a sudden, okay, I'm getting surgery. It's like, wow, where did that come from? According to Stefanski, we got more done than I anticipated. I don't know. He goes, the tempo was high. They were moving around. It helped that we had some goal lines, some red zones, some backed up. So we were really using that end of the end zone because there's a weight room on the other side. I was really pleased with what we were able to get done. That's because they had moved indoors because of all the rain that they were getting up in Cleveland. So he's happy with the amount of work. Williams, by the way, has now been out since Monday and unseen on the practice field. And that means he may not be ready for the opener. He missed the first 4 games of last season with the pulled hammy, if you remember. Stefanski's using the stiff upper lip, saying he's still got a lot of talent in the defensive back room, which has been rocked by injuries. And Terrence Mitchell will be a candidate to start, and that just doesn't make any of us particularly happy. I like our D-backs in total, Stefanski said. We have some really good veteran corners who are slow as hell, and some young guys who are really not sure what they're doing, but are doing a pretty good job. The guys
and run really fast.
Yeah, exactly. If we could just put those two together, The guys are taking to the scheme, and then they're grinding on the coaches are grinding them on technique and fundamentals. A defensive back coach, Jeff Howard, said that Mitchell had a really good offseason. He's honed in on the techniques we're teaching. He's smart, and he's made the most of his reps. When they asked him about his safety situation, Howard said, and that's a quote.
No, I think that was Joe Woods. The DC. Yeah.
I mean, and then Stefanski said that the guy I always, Kaderil Hodge, who I call Kaharold Dodge, because what the hell difference does it make? Who missed the past week for personal reasons, returned to practice today. It was great to see him, he said. I really enjoy having him around. He does his job. He doesn't say much. He does the dirty work. He can line up outside and make some plays. I'm really pleased with Kaderil. I know I'm thrilled with Kaderil, and he's just wild about me.
We're all just very, very thrilled.
And by the way, he said the Browns will decide during game week if J.C. Tretter, who was scoped August the 13th, will be ready to start against the Ravens September the 13th. A source told Cleveland.com that's the plan, but he's cutting it close. It's about a 4 to 6 week injury, but I'm telling you, it's different for a football player, different for a professional athlete. They always say that. I mean, I had a scope, and I was out in the tennis court in 2.5, 3 weeks. But I'm not a professional athlete with the grind. You know how much you lose? You can lose quad strength, gagunga, like that after a scope. The The fifth-round pick, Nick Harris, is doing a really nice job, according to Stefanski. Here are the following players who did not practice due to injury. Adrian Claiborne, the linebacker, with a groin. Of course, Kevin Johnson with a lever. Safety Carl Joseph, foot. Wide receiver Jarvis Landry, hippie shake. Cornerback MJ Stewart Jr., nobody knows him, but he has a hamstring problem. J.C. Treader, of course, Greedy Williams, and Mac Wilson, because the shark bit. It was a Mac reference, okay? It was all I could come up with on short notice.
The return of the Mac.
Yeah. Who's saying that? Rox?
I don't know.
I'm saying his last name was Morrison. Tell me I'm wrong. Look it up. This is my
Tommy
business.
Morrison from the from In Loving Color.
I need to know. Somebody last name of Morrison, and it wasn't Jimmy, or else it would have been Return of the what?
Mark Morrison.
Thank you. Okay. At least I'm not losing that part of me. That's isn't that right, Betty? I'm talking to you. Oh, Rox. I'm sorry. So, still more coming out of Kevin Stefanski. He said a social justice meeting after practice included a lot of good dialogue. It was great to see the guys sharing, he said, and it was great to see the spirit of Judge Wapner show up.
Gotta watch Wapner.
Gotta watch Wapner. I mean,
Gotta go to Kmart. Gotta buy underwear.
Uh-oh.
About $100.
Fart. Rookie wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones left practice early Thursday, but was back on the field today. He caught a 65-yard Case Keenum pass on Thursday. Keenum didn't actually throw that far, you understand. He had a little toy cannon beside him that propelled the football. A versatile football player, Stefanski said. Really, you can line him up anywhere, which means he doesn't do anything well. I'm getting the impression, if you can line these guys up anywhere, they're just as bad. We can't hide these people. He creates value in the return game. Yeah, he returns.
Playing defensive tackle, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Just that reminds me of when Buddy Ryan was coaching the Cardinals, and he said, I wish I had 22 Larry Centers out there.
And get this, he said, he creates value in the return game, but, returning recyclable bottles does not help our wide receiver core. Let's make that clear. He also praised Claiborne, who was signed as an unrestricted free agent in the offseason. He's been in and out with the groin injury, but has been impressive when he practices. On the field, you have a vet that understands pass rush, good size, understands the scheme, but can't play because his groin is ripped all the time. Off the field, I couldn't be more impressed with him. I love his aftershave, and what a sense of humor he has. We call him Mr.
And my wife
Personality.
really loves his clothes.
I'm sorry if it seems like I'm just being, facetious, sarcastic, or whatever, or didactic. Howard acknowledged that it was really disappointing to see rookie safety Grant Delpit go down. Oh, with the ruptured Achilles. I was going to say, forget it. He admitted that the secondary has had its share of adversity. Howard praised cornerback Denzel Ward, calling him a very productive player with God-given skill set, almost as great as Denzel Washington's. He said they dug into his 2019 tape and devised a plan for him to improve, and that would be not to lead with his head. Safety Sheldrick Redwine makes me feel good. Couldn't help it.
Red wine, you make me feel so fine.
Exactly. UB40, say it. Hut. Sheldrick Redwine said he almost shed a tear when Delpit went down. Almost. That means he'll be playing. So almost. Crocodile tears, folks. And that's it from Browns land. Could it be any better?
Maybe.
But it could be. Then, see, it's nice when people come. And he spelled his name the same way I spell mine?
No.
No. Well, thanks, Doggy Bone. That was. I'm touched. I'm not sure either, because I want to tell this gentleman that the tailgating's gone, so no barbecue spare ribs before the game, dude. Tailgating's been nixed, canceled at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Energy Field. I'm sorry. Energy Field. I can't. I just want to call it the Jake. I don't want to call it Progressive Field.
I still call it the Jake.
Yeah, I mean, it's like fucking Flo. What's that have to do with baseball? Except she could probably take a baseball bat up her ass. What do I care about Progressive Insurance when I'm watching a baseball game? Oh, trivia here. Let's see if anyone knows this. What does UB40 stand for? I don't know the answer to this. I just hated all the fucking reggae remakes they used to do. It used to drive me crazy. Not like Fine Young Cannibals. But it drove me crazy.
know what KMFDM stands for.
What does UB40 stand for? I know what WD-40, but not, I don't know.
What the hell does WD-40 stand for?
Withdraw 40 because it lubes you and it makes it easier to go in and out.
Interesting.
I made that up off the top of my head. Detail. And I can't get it off the top of my head. That shit's nasty, man. WD-40. It's like, hey, my dick's not squeaking either. All right. So I don't know. I don't think Amsterdam knows the answer either. He asks trivia questions that he does not know the answers to himself.
Registration card issued by the Department of Employment to a person registering as unemployed in Britain.
Ah, there, Bronk is right there. The unemployment form. Hey, good for you. So Bronk knew the answer.
Well, he has been a bum most of his life, so of course he would know that.
The universal punchline. Thank you, Doggy Bones. I do appreciate it.
There's your cattle prod, Bronk.
Well, no.
Yay,
actually,
conservatives!
How many Tories can you name? There's Torrey Hunter. He played for the Twins.
Torrey Holt.
Torrey Holt. Good. How
Tori
many Tory?
Spelling.
There was a movie, Tory. No. It's a war movie. Let me think. Tory.
Joe Torre?
Joe Torre.
Yeah, different spelling. Good. It still works because it's a sound alike. Trying to think. The Jewish Holy Scroll. No. Close.
James Cameron isn't a Tory.
And Bronk, you already missed it. He was late on the switch. That's what I was. Yes, exactly right. Yeah, I don't know any other Tories. I wish I did. Oh, I do. There was a girl on Sing Snap, Rocks. Her name was Tori. Remember? She had a real deep bluesy voice. She was from Indiana. That was another Tory.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the only other Tory I ever met. The Indians are playing tonight, and this, I was glad that Clevenger got back out on the field. It was a little rough start, but, he really pitched a good game, and it just shows how much you need what you got to get over whatever hurdles you can. And our pitching dominated the Twins in the series, and we won 2-1. Clevenger gave up an early run and was not his usual sharp self, but he hung in, and the bullpen took care of the rest. Well, actually, the offense kind of took care of the rest for Clevenger. And, it was nice to see also the offense pick up Shane Bieber as well, who toughed it out when he was having unusual control issues early in his game. But the team put up runs. And the Indians scoring 6 runs is big news. That gave Clevenger what he needed. And he only gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, and he struck out 6. And his fastball had some life on it, man. 94 to 97 miles an hour. And he took it seriously. He had the right attitude. He got the job done. Now, tonight is going to be even more interesting, the second start of Triston McKenzie. And, he was outstanding in his first game. And McKenzie, the second start is tougher. They got a little film on you, and they're going to pick up on some things. There's going to be some patterns in this. They were talking about the Indians pitchers who had the best second major league appearances, and one of them was Shane Bieber, and he gave up 10 hits in his second game in like 5 or 6 innings. So it's tough to really be, you can take somebody by surprise on short notice, but once people get a better look at you, and this is the first time he's pitching out of Progressive Field, it's going to be in St. Louis. And not that the fans are going to be a factor, but the unfamiliarity of the surroundings that has something to do with it. And he was great in his first start. His fastball ran from 94 to 97 also, and he had a good breaking ball. He's got 4 pitches. So, he's got a change, he's got a slider, he's got a fastball, he's got a curve, and that's a complete repertoire for a young pitcher. We'll see if he can command those pitches tonight. It'll be very interesting. And I want to see what Bronk is saying here. Had an unintentionally hilarious analysis of the Tribe's outfield. The message was Greg Allen, DeShields, and Freeman is the worst offensive outfield ever. And I agree. I mean, what we got in our last game to get 6 runs was some very timely hitting when we needed it. You had a little long ball action, but you had 2 out hits. We haven't seen that this year. And when you're up 4-3 and you get that lead, you need the insurance runs. We got 2 insurance runs, and that's really because you can't go in 4-3 with Brad Hand coming into the game. I don't trust that, and I don't think anybody else in Tribe Land does either. But
Mr.
when you go
Hand,
when you get up to 6-3, that relief pitcher can come in and relax, do his thing. They hit the ball off him, but it didn't go anywhere, and we got out of the 9th fine. Again, taking 2 of 3, we're only half a game behind Minnesota. That's good. We'll see. We'll see what Triston McKenzie does tonight. And playing against the National League team, there's very little familiarity. Roberto Perez, the catcher, does not have familiarity with the Cardinals, lineup. So calling a game for a guy who's pitching a second time in the big leagues, I think Brad Hand is 9 for 9, Bronk, in saves this year. But it hasn't been pretty. Let's just put it that way. He's gotten roughed up, So there's that. So we'll be looking forward to the Indians game and see if as far as their starting lineup, here it goes. Cesar Hernandez, who I like, he's having a good year, right? Jose Ramirez, who's been up and down, mainly down lately, popping up a lot of balls, which tells me he's uppercutting his swing too much. We need him to get back to driving the ball. Francisco Lindor, who's finally up in the 255 range for his batting average, and he's starting to show some of the power with 5 home runs. Carlos Santana, who's been below the Mendoza line, still got a good eye, but he had a big 2-out hit. Franmil Reyes, who's hitting way better from an average perspective at 293 than anyone expected, and he has power. Tyler Naquin also in the 290s as a batting average, and he's hitting the low pitch, which we know he can. He doesn't have power, but I prefer to see him in the game because he can make contact with the ball. Luplo's going to be playing in left field, which does really nothing for me whatsoever. Roberto Perez, who's hitting, if 200 is the Mendoza line, what is 100? Roberto Perez was hitting a 111 the last time I looked, and
Hey, 1 for 9.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with Roberto Perez, he had that one really good year in the minor leagues, and then every other year he couldn't hit. And that's what's happened here. Last year was his year, and now he's back to being the 170 hitter, Roberto Perez. But he calls a good game, and he's a great defensive catcher. And Delano DeShields Jr. in center field, who has no pop in his bat whatsoever. And they're praying to the baby Jesus. He just hits the ball to the opposite field. Now, I can't tell you anything. I know who Paul Goldschmidt is, all right? But I don't know who Colton Wong is. I don't know who Paul DeJong is. Brad Miller, their designated hitter. Matt Carpenter, their third baseman. Now, Yadier Molina, we know him from the American League. Tyler O'Neill, I don't know. Dexter Fowler, I barely know. And Dylan Carlson, Tucker's brother, is in center field. I have no idea who these people are. I guess I'm going to find out.
Are you talking about the Diamondbacks?
No, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh. Oh, that's right. They got rid of Goldschmidt, didn't they?
Yeah, right. Goldschmidt is a power hitter.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the Diamondback? Never mind.
And to finish off this lovely program, no preseason football, which hurts television stations like WEWS, TV5 in Cleveland, because they were going to show the preseason games instead. If you're in Northeast Ohio and you're within the signal of WEWS, you're getting some of the greatest games in Browns history.
Sheesh.
Classic games from the teams past. They only had to show 4, and it was hard. It was hard getting to 4. If you're wondering what they've shown already, that 2002 William run game, the playoff clinching win over the Atlanta Falcons in 2002. And the schedule resumes tomorrow, and the station airs the Browns win over defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants from 2008 that featured Eric Wright's 94-yard pick six. I gave away so why bother tuning in? All right, that was really the reason you wanted to watch that. And then the following weekend,
I'm surprised they don't have any games from the 1980 season.
Well, I think they can only choose so many. Baker Mayfield's debut when he came off the bench to lead the Browns over the lowly Jets, that made the cut too. And building the Browns, the show, the team's own Hard Knocks kind of show, Building the Browns airs the next 2 Sundays at 11:30 on WEWS. We'll be airing Browns Countdown, its weekly preview show prior to all regular season games, once again starting September 13th. Thank you to the people at WEWS for at least giving us a little taste of football in Northeast Ohio, even though I'm not sure that these games make you want to get psyched. Exactly. I have good news.
No, just a psych eval.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have good news for you, Rox.
Yay!
Yeah. Jacob Blake is no longer shackled to his hospital bed. That's right. He was actually handcuffed to the bed because of outstanding warrants. He's crippled and can't walk. Pat, hey, they took the shackles off. So, hey, it's a good day in the Blake family. Meanwhile, in the ultimate bizarre thing, if you didn't hear what the president said about the NBA, he said, their ratings aren't very good. And, that's been the criticism that he had about the NFL. Yeah, the ratings are a big thing to Donald Trump. The funny part of it is that Joe Biden's speech beat Donald Trump's speech in the ratings. Now, you know something? Did you watch it, Brian? Either one? Either one.
I watched a couple of speeches, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. Neither party. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But, you know, so the numbers have got to be radically dropped down because I think people just are sick of it. I got to be honest. If they really want to continue both sides figuring out a way to suppress vote or, you know, it's just keep talking about this shit. Make people less and less interested, you know? Can't get away from the crap. Now we're getting this. Who sang it, Rox?
Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. No clue.
Was that Insane Clown Posse?
No.
It was not. All right. Who sang
Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Insane in the membrane.
Insane
He's insane. Got no brain.
Yeah.
And they also played probably some of these rioters' favorite song, How I Could Just Kill a Man.
Oh, I mean, I'd forgotten all about Cypress Hill. I'd forgotten about that song, and then somebody goes ahead and tries to remind me of that again.
Yeah, you have to watch the Beavis and Butthead episode where they're dancing along to it. It's pretty funny.
Newsflash, Old Yeller gets shot at the end. All right, thank you.
That is quite tragic.
Rosebud was the sled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Bronx says the only game worth rewatching is the Jets playoff game with Kozar. That was really 10 points down. You know what I remember most about that game was
Mark Gastineau?
Well, no. Actually, what I remember was what appeared to just put the game out of reach, and that was number 24, their running back. Was his last name Freeman? He was their running back.
Freeman McNeil.
Freeman McNeil. Thank you. Yeah, going around the end into the end zone untouched, and it was like, over, ball game. And then to have Gastineau fuck up the way he did, which really gave us the life that we needed, the first down because of the penalty, the meaningless late hit. And then that incredible long throw and catch by Webster Slaughter. And what people forget about that game is the very next play, because that's what led to the field goal that was sent into overtime. The Browns tried to throw a pass in the end zone that was almost picked off. And that would have been so Browns, wouldn't it? Oh my God, that would have been horrible. I think that was the James Hasty play, the safety.
Yeah,
I don't remember who it was, but I mean, that pass was ill-advised and it could have been picked. I just, it was not good. And then, having Mosley kicking, it's like,
yeah, Mark Mosley.
He needed braille goalposts to figure out where they were located. But no, he finally in the second overtime got it done. That was
he was on. Peyton Manning just did a show about kickers in the NFL a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was in June. But anyway. The first kicker was Mark Mosley.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Mosley as a Redskin, but he has that folklore in Browns history. And yeah, Gastineau was hepped up on roids, and I'll tell you, the worst thing I ever saw was Gastineau in a boxing ring. Oh my God! I watched Mark Gastineau get knocked out cold. they padded his record in the beginning against bums, and they proved that 2 of his opponents were paid to take dives. If you have an opportunity, go on YouTube and take a look at some of the Gastineau fights. He didn't know how to fight. And there was one guy who it was so obvious, they immediately suspended his pay, and they found out that, yeah, he had agreed to take a dive, and he even admitted it afterwards. Gastineau was horrible as a boxer. And, you know, and that's true. A lot of people didn't see that whole end of the game, because with 5 minutes to go and Freeman McNeil going into the end zone, it was all but lost, 10 points down. You weren't going to make that up. And then you could imagine, wouldn't you feel like a complete asshole in your car? It's like, oh, and you know how fans are. They leave and they get to their car and they turn it on to hear the post-game comments, and then the game's still going on and the Browns are coming back and it's too late to go back into the stadium. Unreal. Yeah, that was an exciting game. The Browns have been in a few exciting games. I'll grant them that. They usually just turn out really badly, and that one happened to turn out good. That's why we remember that one so much. Well, that's all I have to say today. I just want to say that just let sports continue, and we'll talk about it here. I'm not going to sit and talk about the other shit. It's just too painful. To be very honest with you, it's just depressing, and I don't want to contribute to all of this because it's not political anymore. It's chaos. It's chaos in America, and this is not something that I ever wanted the country to come to, and I don't think any logical thinking person wants this, but it's what we're getting. So keep your fingers crossed that things get better, and let's hope that Tristan McKenzie exhibits the same skill level and the same consistency that he did in his first start and gives us another good 6-7 innings tonight, and hope his arm holds up because he has a history of shoulder problems. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We'll be back again, as we always are on Monday, to talk more sports with you. Until then, hasta la vista, faster heads. Good night.